Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of VAFA Tragics, a special edition this week as we look ahead towards the Big V representative matches over in South Australia against the Adelaide Football League. We'll get to all of the team information about the men's and women's sides later on in the show, but before we do that, let's welcome along Nick Armistead. He joins us from VAFA as he does every week. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well, I'm excited. This is the best week in VAFA football, representative football, and we've got two massive guests coming on. Oh, for me it beats finals. Finals is good, but this is next level. This is representing your state, this stuff.
Very good stuff, particularly going up against interstate.
Yeah.
Are they going to be wearing the South Australian jumpers? Because they're now called the Adelaide Football League.
Yeah, they still wear those red with the yellow sort of stuff going on. Ours is clearly a little bit better, I would have thought, and slightly more recognisable.
Fair enough. What was your highlight from the weekend?
I'm going to Collegians, Taylor Hunt Screamer. You may have seen it on Facebook.
Saw it on the weekend,
Lenny. Now, he's been tearing it up off halfback for the Lions, but this on the weekend against Old Brighton was Modra-esque. Absolutely no hands in the back.
Small hands in the back.
If he didn't take the mark, maybe it was hands in the back. But what I love about this is when he turns to the crowd and gives a little wry smile afterwards. I don't know if they'd been giving it to him prior to that, but that was a sensational mark.
I think, anytime you take your first hanger, or I don't know if he's taken them in the past before, but when you take one, you're pretty bloody happy with it.
Yeah, he was happy with himself.
My highlight of the week undoubtedly was the Turtles taking it right up to Old Paradians. Exciting stuff from the Turtles to get as close as they did to the ladder leaders, the undefeated Old Paradians.
Yeah.
I reckon it's good signs, which I'm sure we'll touch on later in the show for them. The other highlight, which I know I feel like we do this weekly now, is but this is breaking news, although we're not breaking it unfortunately. But earlier in the week, we saw through and thank you for everyone out there for getting in touch with us as well. Triple M's social account alerted the masses to the fact that there's going to be a Dim Sim festival on in Melbourne. It's going to be at Welcome to Thornbury. Importantly for VAFA players and clubs who are maybe running canteens, thinking about getting Dim Sims in there. Head on down to Welcome to Thornbury in Thornbury, and there'll be a 2-day festival on the 7th and 8th of July. Dim Sims from all of the best Dim Sim merchants in Victoria, in Melbourne. Wonderful idea.
Fantastic.
I'm nervous though. I want anyone that goes down there to report on pricing, because I feel like a festival where it should be all love and friendly and getting to know everyone's Dim Sims. What do you do with your Dim Sims? What do you that sort of stuff.
Yep.
I feel like there's potential to rort the public. They sit there going, oh, we've got a bit of exclusive Dim Sim access here. This is a special type of Dim Sim. It's a secret representative. They might be going $4 a Dim Sim, and we don't want that. So I want everyone to get to the Dim Sim Festival at Welcome to Thornbury.
And tweet it.
We want to see show your face, bit of a selfie, having a bit of a Dim Sim at the Dim Sim Festival, and then head on down to the Beta Div 4 representative game.
Absolutely, down at Alstonwick Park on the same day. Which
would be fantastic. So, on to William Buck Premier. Let's get straight into it. Last weekend, Old Zavarians and Uni Blues. Amazing result, really. Just in the Zavs are always a good side, but I don't think we thought that they were a 52-point better side than Blues.
Going into the game, I think anyone would have said Blues probably have this covered. Zavs, they were outstanding. 52 points, they were 4 goals to 1 up at the first break. Hanley kicked another 3, and Dennis Simiopoulos was at his absolute best.
Jason Holmes really working into his role nicely as well for Zavs, and having a real influence the way about they're going about it. 7 goals to none in that third quarter. I'm wondering what the hell's going on at Blues. How can they not stop the rot, put men behind the ball, do something to prevent just that 7-goal run of goals that Zavs managed to get?
It is super surprising given the talent that is on the Blues list. Now, I always refer back to it. I understand that. But you look at a list and you look at the players who have performed in the past. You've got your Ross Youngs, you've got your Jeremy Taylors, you've got your Gapens up forward. You've got all this star-studded lineup, and at the moment they're just not putting it together.
The other one, Uni Blues, if they win that game, Old Trinity are losing. They're in a bit of a bad run themselves. We'll get on to their game. They went down to Old Ems. We're going to talk about Old Trinity and OM's game later in the show, where now one of our guests, Tom Paule, joins us on the show. We're going to talk Big V with him as well, and also Old Melburnians. But the T's are falling down. OM's jump into the fore. Uni Blues have now just put themselves. They're a long way back.
It was a prime opportunity for Uni Blues. Now this was the week because they had a couple of decent weeks. I think they were 2-1 in the 3 weeks leading up. So this was the week where they can put themselves in that conversation again after a poor start. Trinity absolutely rorted by injury at the moment, struggling. Blues have missed an opportunity.
Quickly down to Brindisi Street, where I said it was a danger game for the Tigers. They went down to the Cardinals, who've won a couple in a row, to really frank their form that they'd shown in the first 7 weeks of the year by getting a couple of wins before the turn. Important win for Old Scotch.
Absolutely it is, and now they were both on one win. Three-quarter time, it was 55 apiece, and St Bede's actually went 7 points ahead 11 minutes into the fourth quarter, but Scotch kicked the last 4 of the game. But what I want to talk about is this mark from Max Martin, who I would argue it's Josh Cowan's mark, man in front. Forever we've been paying man in front. Joey Pignataro will talk about it on this week's podcast, but he's been paid the mark, and that's got their first goal to get back on a run, and then they've kicked the next 3 and won the game. So the momentum shifted.
Tell you what I'm really loving these days is just whoever's running the Twitter accounts for the clubs when there's a close game, the use of exclamation marks, the excitement, you can feel it coming through the tweet stream, and Old Scotch, Uni Blues, Old Scotch, Uni Blacks are all excellent in that department. They don't make our best use of social though this week. That's coming up later. Collegians, Old Brighton again, just showing their wares. Only going down by 3 goals to Collegians.
Yeah, fantastic effort from Old Brighton. It was really just the second quarter where Collegians kicked 8 goals to 4, when I think Old Brighton actually outscored them for the rest of the match. Xander Croft kicked 4 goals for the second week in a row, but Brighton actually had more scoring shots, so it shows that they are exactly where they should be at 3rd place on the ladder.
I can't see them dropping out at this stage, so it's really only 4th spot up for grabs.
Well, and I know, hearing from people at Brighton, they are losing a high number of players after this break, so it will be interesting to see how their depth goes, because their 2s have only won the 1 game.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So that's the only thing that will hold them back.
Yeah, often happens with these teams coming up from Premier B. St Kevin's beat De La Salle in the other game as well, so to get back on the winners list. Premier B, St Bernard's continued on their merry way. They're on top of the table there still. A big win at Glen Huntly over the Fields. Beaumaris beating Monash Blues, and Old Carey losing to Ajax. Interesting one there with Christian Jacks withdrawing just before the game. Yeah,
so he warmed up and then he didn't play any of the games. I'm not sure what's going on there. Clearly hurt himself, I would assume, in the warm-up, but they will miss him if he's out for any period of time.
Great to see the Vultures celebrating a win in Charlie Dillon's 100th game as well. It's just fantastic scenes. He's been such a great player for them. And Lockie Dornoff lost the goal-kicking mantle for a week at Uni Blacks.
He'd be filthy about it too. Lockie Huntington's come back and he's kicked 7 goals. He's having a great year, Lockie Huntington.
On to Premier C. What's wrong with Fitzroy?
I don't know what is wrong with Fitzroy. Since their massive win over Williamstown a couple of weeks ago, they've now lost 2 in a row. First of all against Pegs, who are a really well-drilled side, but against Old Camberwell, who have actually improved probably more than anyone across the course of the first 9 rounds. The Whalers did kick 7 goals to 4, and they led by 15 at the main break before the Roys hit back and trailed by just 4 points at three-quarter time. But obviously, it was the Whalers who kicked away in the last quarter.
Ben Hart been an absolute stalwart at the Whalers for such a long time. It's great to see him still producing the goods week in, week out. Old Geelong beat Old Ivanhoe by a point. Unbelievable that they were able to do that and keep on their winning ways. Old Ivanhoe have really come back strong.
They really have, and I think that was a surprising part that Old Ivanhoe actually were with them for so long. They were leading by 5 points at half-time and at three-quarter time, until Matthew Bird kicked this goal, just roved to the front of the pack, and he's gone and he's celebrating. He's got about 6 high fives there, but if you watch the footage closely, he's still looking around for a few more teammates. He's run out. He just wanted to keep partying, and I understand why. It was a fantastic goal to win the game for Old Geelong.
It was a great goal, and we love the celebrations. Keep the celebrations coming in as well, right? We're going to talk plenty of Big V football. I mentioned Tom Paule from Old Melburnians. He's going to join us. He's been put into the side to take on the South Australian Adelaide Football League, and as will Ruby Grounds. She's from Melbourne University, and she'll be playing for the Vics against the girls from South Australia as well. They're both going to join us after this on the Tragics.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics, joined by Tom Paule, the OM skipper, and also the Big V vice captain. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, gentlemen. Good to be here.
Congratulations on the vice captaincy for the 2nd year in a row.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
You must. We'll talk plenty of rep footy, but let's just start on OMs. Great season so far, good season, not bad season. How do you measure the season after 9 rounds?
Oh, it's probably one of the best campaigns I've been involved with at my time. I was just speaking to Nathan Brown, the coach, before coming on the show, and he was sort of talking about middle of the year. We've played over 40 players on the list already. We've certainly not had our fair run of injuries, but with a bit of that challenge has come some really fantastic opportunities for young guys to come through. and there's a quorum of young players. I don't know if you guys have a look at the results every week, but certainly there's new names in the best.
That's just coaches playing ducks and drakes, isn't it?
Yeah, not really. There's honestly some kids coming up.
Robbie Morrison down back?
Robbie Morrison we've got 5 or 6 under-19s we play every week, and so the development has been, in my time, the most I've seen coming through the list, which is just what you want to see. That's what excites you. So. Very, very bright future for the OMs.
And how are you feeling at the moment? We know you had a broken finger or broken hand, was it? Early this year. So how are you feeling at the moment?
Yeah, missed 3 with the broken hand, but managed to get back in reasonable time, and just been building my fitness. So I think I've played 4 games since coming back, 3 to 4 games. So it's coming back quickly, and we've managed to tuck a few wins away in those games.
The home deck feel like a home deck now for you?
It does. It's a fortress. We haven't lost there yet. I don't know if anyone's been keeping track, but we think it's a bit of a fortress down there, and the boys are certainly excited. It's like we pinch ourselves because we've spent a number of years a little bit destitute and homeless and playing out at Oval 1 out at we used to peer down at the collegians boys with great jealousy. And now we've got all of those facilities and a good collaboration with the VAFA with the new facilities. So.
You're looking forward to the new rooms being opened up and making them your own?
Very much. So we're still in the old facilities, which are still good facilities, but the new rooms are being built right in front of us, and I know that it's exciting for the club to finally have a home. I don't know if anyone can recall the days at Junction Oval. Other clubs used to love to come there. It was a wonderful deck to play on, but it wasn't really a permanent home for us. So it was as good as it was a bit of a burden on the club.
Do you think about looking forward, now that you have come into the top 4 after beating Trinity on the weekend, that the possibility, if you finish 3rd or 4th, that you could play 3 finals at Elstonwick Park, whereas every other side would only have played once throughout the year? Do you think about that and realise how much of an advantage that could be?
Look, it plays on your mind a little bit. I think there's a lot of work to do still to get us up into that, obviously, that top 4. In my time at the club, in A grade, we've always been about thereabouts mid-ladder. Even late last year, we had a kind of a run at it, but couldn't quite get there. Fell a game short. So our first and foremost, goal is to lock that away and make sure we keep doing all the little things to get a berth. It'll be new for the club to have played finals in A grade. And then we'll worry about home ground advantages and all that stuff. So.
Big V squad, number of OMs guys in there still. You're pretty happy that they're in the mix?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we had 4 nominations, 4 or 5, I think, initially, and then obviously different players ruled themselves out. But the 3 that played last year, Al, Josh, and myself, are still in that squad and looking forward to an opportunity.
And Nick misses out obviously because he's injured. How's he looking at the moment? Is he coming back in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, Big Nick's injured, which has been it's been 4 or 5 weeks, so he's been a big hole. I'm giving some young ruckman, Dave Holyoke, an opportunity to step up and play his trade in the seniors, but he'll come back into the side in the second half of the year and add a lot of depth in that department.
Fair to say you enjoy the representative program and the experience that gets, the chance to meet other guys. Why do you love it, and what's the best bits about it? If you could just categorise it and break it down.
It's a tough one. There's an amazing energy, and each coach that has spent some time with a tenure with a group, whether it was Simon Lethlean or now Stewie Powell, I think they bring a different sort of a mix, and so there's a wonderful energy that's around the whole program, and gentlemen genuinely want to be involved to play the players, which is it's rare. I mean, I'm not sure all the other representative programs and leagues are quite like that. It's really nice to turn foe into friend for a period, and I think all the guys that are part of the program would agree. You go out and you beat each other up on a weekend, but there's a difference in the mutual respect you share once you've played together, and so it does forge friendships across the teams and the leagues, which is I think that's very beneficial to the league as a whole. Do
you have a favourite highlight from the Big V? Now, you kicked 4 goals against AFL Queensland. You're involved in the EFL and obviously NFL wins. Did any of those games stand out to you as the number one?
Yeah, I think that pre-season game against the EFL probably stands out as the highlight, because
kicked a couple that day.
Kicked a couple, but it was just this intense rivalry in suburban footy as to who had the bragging rights, and the group was so well prepared at such an early stage in the year, and we got over the line, and it was a definitive victory. We really put the foot on the throat and finished them off, and then they were sort of like, well, that's it, VAFA sort of wins, and then they kind of shut that comp down soon after, so we'll never see it again.
Would you like to see that again? Like, I know we've now not a part of the Metro Vic Champs, not in those rankings, and they claim that Geelong's second and I think EFL's first. Would you like to be a part of that again to prove that, you know, once and for all, definitively, again, we are number one? Or are you quite happy with what we do at the moment with the AFL Vic Country and the other amateur leagues every 2 years?
Look, I think it should be considered to get back involved at some point. I know there was probably pretty good reasons why the guys chose not to participate, but there is a pride that we all wear being non-paid players against the leagues that do pay, and I think it's good to be able to show that and show the quality of our league on a big stage.
Basically became a shop front, didn't it? You know, we played VAFA players and you got all these clubs going, oh, we'll have him, we'll have him, we'll have him. That was one of the issues with it.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to about the South Australian trip this weekend?
A little bit of redemption, first and foremostly.
Yep.
So if you think back 2 years ago, that South Australian team really lay in wait for us. They really prepared. They loaded their list, and they were very happy with themselves at the end of the game. So there weren't too many in this year's squad that actually got to be part of that campaign. But for those that are, I know there was a bit of pride that was hurt. So it'd be a good chance to get them back.
I know Nick's been doing some research. You got some inside information from some of the OM's teammates about something else you might be looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, well, I have been told, you know, off the record, that you came off after maybe one of those games and you've just sidled up to one of your OM's teammates and you've just said, quote unquote, "It's amazing how my shoulders don't hurt because I don't need to carry anyone." In the rep side.
I don't know, stitch me. That is absolute rubbish.
Put a line through that. Never happened.
Never happened. Good luck on the weekend against South Australia, and also for the rest of the year with OMs. We look forward to seeing you maybe in the finals in September even.
Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Paule.
Cheers.
Tom Paule joining us there. Ruby Grounds is going to join us right after this. We're going to talk women's representative football. Back in a moment.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to the Tragics. We're joined by Ruby Grounds, the captain of Melbourne University Football Club, and we're pleased to say the captain of the VAFA Women's Representative side. Congratulations on that and welcome to the show.
Thanks, really appreciate it.
Hi, thanks for joining us. How did it feel the other night when Johnny Canis read out your name in front of all the girls? You didn't even know you were in the team at that stage, but he read out your name as the captain.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was just hoping to get into the list. It's such a good squad, so to be named captain is, really amazing.
So at that moment, did he come up and tell you beforehand that he was going to announce you? Or just
No, I was going through the whole training really nervous every time I dropped a mark that I was going to get cut, so yeah, I wish I'd known before. But
so what is that training experience like? What's the training experience been like over the last 4 weeks?
Yeah, it was really, really cool, positive experience, like meeting all the girls from the other leagues and just seeing the whole standard. Like, it was definitely a lot higher than I expected, and yeah, it was just great to get to train with a bunch of different people.
How do you go learning everyone's names? You've got a big squad of 70, you got whittled down week by week.
Just a struggle, only just getting them now, really.
It was a bit of a stitch up putting 78 in the first squad and trying to get everyone to know. So but do you know everyone's first name at least?
Yeah, now in the last couple of weeks, definitely got everyone's first names. Yeah.
So when are you doing that back in the codes? Hi, and what do you do?
Yeah, that's it. Little intro every time.
Yeah. Exactly. Tell us a little bit about your teammates who are going to be in the side. Caitlin and Mietta are going to join you there from Melbourne Uni. So are you happy to see them in the side?
Yeah, amazing.
Have some friends out there?
Yeah, Mietta's just joined Melbourne Uni this year. She's been playing a few games with VFL and she's really solid. And Caitlin's just come from the TAC and is just an absolute legend. She booted a goal from 60 metres out in her first game. So
unbelievable.
Huge.
Has Mietta been able to give you any advice? Because she played in the Big V side when she was playing at Old Haileybury last year. Has she been able to take your side, give you any advice, what to expect maybe against South Australia this weekend?
Yeah, not so much. I think they played not against South Australia last year, but she definitely just let me know like the good vibes that the team will be, what a good experience it is.
Tell us a little bit about your footy background. How long have you been playing footy? You know, you played in the Northern Footy League last year with Melbourne Uni and now in the VAFA this year.
Yep, so I joined Melbourne Uni when I was 12 and played in their youth girls team, and this is my 5th year in their senior team. So we've been around a few different of the leagues. I think we started in the Eastern and then NFL and now in VAFA. But yeah, it's always been really
So does
fun.
it feel like home in the VAFA now, or does it you
I
still
think
sort of remember good things about the other leagues
No,
as well?
I think this one feels good, especially because our lower team's in the VAFA as well, so it's good to have them both in the same league as well.
Now, how's your current season going with the Mugs? You had a good win on the weekend.
Yeah.
I think you yourself, you're in you're leading the Muggers in disposals, marks and tackles.
Yeah, that's
obviously checking the app straight after the game, I assume. But how are you finding the girls and how they're performing at the moment?
Yeah, I think we're doing really well. We always kind of have the struggle being the middle team at our club, that we have the most kind of loose movements and a bit of a middle child syndrome. But yeah, I think we've got a really solid group this year, and we've got like working on just keeping that same kind of culture every week.
So how does that work with, I think North Melbourne are going to be involved with the senior,
Yeah, that's right.
the VFL side as well. So how will that work with players going up and down next year in particular?
I think it just kind of depends on, it always depends on the VFL list and who's listed in them, and just kind of take it week by week, the ins and outs of who
Is
goes
it
up to
disruptive?
VFL or not. Not so much this year. I feel like we've really worked on keeping the whole club together in one culture, so even when players go up and down, like we all know the structures, we all know what we're playing for, so it's been a bit easier this year.
Now, a bit away from football, I hear that you're very well travelled.
Yes.
Into a few countries, and you can speak fluent Spanish.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you ever whip that out at training, and can you give us something here?
Oh, I do try and do my swearing when I miss a goal in Spanish, just so the umpires don't pick up on it. Yeah.
What's that?
Bit of a cabrona.
¿Por qué?
I know, vamos.
That's all right, yeah.
No lo necesito para Pablo español. Right, that's about all I've got, I reckon. This weekend, flying over a Saturday morning. Have you flown interstate to play footy before?
No, I haven't. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
So
and
how do you prepare? What do you normally do on a game day to prepare?
Just have a huge breakfast and then drink one too many coffees and then rock up.
Okay, what is a huge breakfast? Like what do you eat before a game?
I do a bit of toast with eggs usually. Yeah.
So it's going to be a chance. You're at the airport early, 8 o'clock, 8:30.
Yeah, I think we leave at
8:30.
flight 9, I think. Yeah.
And what time do you normally get to it at the ground? Because I think you're going to be there a few hours before the game starts.
Yeah, we usually get there. We usually have a 12 o'clock game at home, so get there at 10:30.
Okay, so you're going to be there a bit earlier. So what are you going to do with your downtime? Are you a music listener, or are you going to nibble on snack foods? What do you do?
Yeah, have a few snacks, just kind of keep it light and hang out with my teammates before it gets a bit too serious.
So right before the game, when you've got to deliver the captain's speech, what's the message?
Try and just like keep it to the messages that your coaches are saying, but kind of amp it up a bit, get a bit of good spirit going. Yeah, get the girls up.
Do you get a bit vocal?
I get a bit vocal, yeah. Sometimes it just comes out as gibberish, but yeah, just as long as it's loud.
Or Spanish.
Yeah.
Now, Ruby, we're big fans of calling out people that don't know the words to their club songs. Now, of course, the Big V song is the Victorian song. Do you know it at all?
I didn't even know there was a song.
So I think we'll have the words printed out.
Yeah, maybe that's what we'll be doing before the game.
The girls will have to be learning the words to the song. It's basically the North Melbourne song. If you know the kangaroo song, hearts to hearts, hand to hands, beneath the blue and white we stand.
Yeah, cool.
So Victoria will come play. Yeah, so joining the chorus. You should know the joining the chorus.
Yeah, I know the joining the chorus. That's
I think we might have a practice tomorrow night at training.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Not getting ahead of ourselves though.
No.
Good luck on the weekend.
Thank you.
And good luck for Melbourne Uni for the rest of the year as well.
Thanks,
Ruby Grant's joining us on the Tragics. Back with more best use of social media, our highlights and the big questions right after this.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back. It's been a fun show here on the Tragics tonight. Nick, before we go on to best use of social and quick questions, I just want to raise a couple of things. Obviously, we've got the records on the desk this week. Are you looking after these, or?
I'm looking after Alicia, who looks after these.
Oh, well, Alicia's doing a great job putting them together. Not sure about these pictures. I mean, you want to be front and centre when you're on the record.
I understand that.
Got the backs of two guys there, and I'm sure they're thrilled, and their mum's probably thrilled, but he's probably never going to get a chance to ever be on the front of a record again, and that's his only chance.
To be fair, though, I reckon you've picked the 2 records that have that and not the actual person this year. The other 7, I can assure you,
we've got the backs there. We've got three backs.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the ruck contest.
You want to be a postcard, you know? You get a ruck contest inside. Come on, sort it out.
Yeah, my bad.
You're in charge.
I'll talk to Lee.
Rightio, best use of social. Kick it off for us.
So I'm going to St Mary's Salesian, and we know how good they are at just digital media in general. They've been promoting their Naughties party in the past couple of weeks, and this first one is just using the old paint to promote. Little video here, just absolutely fantastic stuff. But it's their latest video with Rob Millsy Mills. You may remember him from Australian Idol or a few acting performances.
Yep.
Getting him in front of the camera and him promoting the Naughties party like this.
Hi guys, Rob Mills here. Do not miss the Naughties party at SMS. It's coming up soon. It's going to be hotter than Paris Hilton. I know this, guys. I know this. See you there. I might even turn up.
And anyone that can ever get into their social media at the club, Paris Hilton, will win social media from me.
No, it's a great get from Samira Salesian. I'm going to be a bit more traditional and go with anyone that's giving us a shout out through their social media, and that's the Pirates this week. They've done it again. Where's Wally? In fact, where is us from the Tragics? Almost third person myself there, but
I thought you were going to.
Yeah, almost did. But I enjoyed it. I think it's good. I'm going to say it's last chance though. So we'll give one more week if you because they might have already started their graphics, clubs, etc. Trying, seeing what the Pirates have done. One more week of getting us into your social media, and you'll get a mention on the show. After that, you need to step outside because we can't just put ourselves on the show.
Not all the time. I mean, a bit self-indulgent, but Piercy down there at the Pirates, he's done that specifically to get on this segment, I reckon.
No, well, he's on, so well done. Quick questions. Spirit of the Big V and Best on Ground awards for both the men's and women's. Let's start with the women, Nick.
For the women, I'm going to give the Spirit of the Big V for the most courageous player to Alexandra Rock from Marcelin. She'll be playing down back, and I just think she'll be fantastic down there. She's a wall. And BOG, Mietta McDonald. We mentioned her earlier, played last year. She's all class. Yeah,
I'm going to go the latecomer to the side, but what a performance she's had in the last 2 weeks, particularly for Melbourne Uni, Caitlin Greiser. Spirit of the Big V. I think she's kicked 8 goals in her last 2 weeks in Melbourne Uni. I think she'll kick a few and she'll impress a lot of people with her performance. And best on ground, I'm going to go Jamie Head. I reckon she'll play off about centre-half back, just marshalling the troops from the half-back line.
Little Head.
Is that what nickname?
Little Head, the nickname. It came out the other night.
Very good. In the men's side, who you got? Spirit of Big V and
now,
best on ground.
Best on ground I'll give first, I think, to Josh Freezer. He's been fantastic across half-back and commanding the defensive 50 so far for old Melburnians. But Spirit of the Big V, it'll be his first ever game. Nick Wood from St Kevin's. Now, I'm a big fan.
One of your love childs,
One of my love children, because he's as tough as nails, and that I think
that's... Called himself a Rolls Royce, is that right?
He referred to himself as a Rolls Royce. I would say more of a Mack truck, but in a Rolls Royce sort of chassis.
Yep.
But I think that he'll get the Spirit of the Big V.
I think best on ground, I'm going to go with Sam Hibbins, the Collusions midfielder. He's been, of course, a tragic guest in the past. Yep. I think he'll have a great performance after he torched St Kevin's a couple of weeks ago with an unbelievable display. So he's in good form. Spirit of the Big V, I'm going to go with Harry Hill, who's also been a tragic guest. It's amazing how we just favour our...
Looking after our own.
Looking after our own there as well. Rightio, on to the other big questions for the week.
I'll go straight to you, Lenny. Have the Turtles turned a corner?
They have. I love a bit of alliteration. Turtles turn corner. I couldn't quite get turn tide. Yeah, Turtles turn tide. We'll go with that. I reckon they have. Having said that, though, Paradians had 6 to 7 of their best out of that side on the weekend. They've won every game so far. Apparently, most of those 6 or 7 are out and not returning for the second half of the year. So that competition potentially is wide open. That's my sources tell me that Paradians,
breaking news.
Those 6 or 7 best players, a lot of them are going overseas and they're not returning for the second half of the year. Who's the clear premiership favourite in any section now?
Easy for me, North Brunswick in Division 4. They're 3 games clear in seniors. They're on top of the ladder, also undefeated in reserves, and they've played a total of 46 players already this year in their senior side across North. That is as much as anyone. So when you can bring that many players in, week out, and still operate at the level that Marcus Patera has them operating at, you should be premiership favourites.
Fair enough. Halfway point of the season, instead of best and worst case scenario going into next week, because of course we've got the VAFA representative games this week, so we'll hold that for next week. Biggest disappointment and biggest surprise is what we're going to go with. Who's been your biggest disappointment this year?
Peninsula Old Boys have been my biggest disappointment. Coming down from Premier B last year, they lost Stu Grigg, Benny Southam and their ruckman, whose name escapes me, who was also their best and fairest last year, and they've just struggled in Premier C this year. They're sitting 1-8 and have lost 5 games at home, haven't won at home yet. So they are my biggest disappointment so far, because I expected, obviously, a fair bit more.
Yeah, my biggest disappointment so far this is Uni Blues, undoubtedly. Now, they'll say that they were close against Collegians and St Kevin's and they had a tough start to the year. They'll level with those two sides in the first 2 rounds at 3/4 time, but then got blown away in the last quarter. They probably should have beaten Old Brighton, but Old Brighton were good enough to beat them at the Uni Oval. Old Trinity they probably should have beaten given the lead they had, but the Tees fought back for a draw. That's still not enough, and at the moment they're just not in the mix. And I had them, certain finalists, and after 3 preliminary finals in a row, I thought they'd be a little bit better than they have been.
That's a good one. Ours do. I'm exactly the same on that.
Biggest surprise so far this season?
For me, it's UHS VU in Division 2 now. They spent so many years down in Division 3, making finals for how many years in a row. They finally cracked it last year with a grand final. They're sitting a premiership they're sitting 8-1 with a percentage in excess of 150, and they are second on the ladder. A real chance to do the double promotion if they continue down this road.
Yep, and for me, it's definitely Old Brighton. We've spoken about them ad nauseum on this show. Their performances in William Bug Premier this year have been outstanding. Harry Hill said, in round 3 or 4 when we had him on, they're aiming for finals and why not? And they're just proving that could be the way. They're 7 wins after 9 rounds. They realistically only need to win 4 of their next 9. And they're in. So,
correct.
Amazing performance from Old Brighton this year. The Tunners and Greg Hutchison's doing a great job.
He's one of the best coaches in the comp.
See you in Adelaide.
You will.
Special edition of the Tragics coming to you from South Australia. Hopefully you can join us next week when we review all of the results from the big weekend of representative football. See you then.